What's going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another video review. And I forgot to put on deodorant. What's going on, everybody? S.L.B coming at you with another video review. And this time we're taking a look at S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Ronin. And before we get into the figure, let's get into the packaging. Different packaging than what we're used to. We're used to seeing like a dark gray or dark red for Avengers from S.H.Figuarts, but now we've got white for Endgame. Why? I don't care. I really don't care. But let's get into it. Avengers Endgame right there. Bandai, Tamashii Nation right there. Avengers logo. This side of the packaging, S.H.Figuarts Ronin. I love that Avengers logo. I love the blue and the gold with the black. I think that's beautiful. This side of the packaging just has a Tamashii Nation stamp quality right there. Ronin, S.H.Figuarts, top of the packaging just says Ronin. Bottom of the packaging just has a product shot of Ronin. Blah 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 stuff and things. And on the back of the packaging, you just have your obligatory product shots. That's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's get him out of the plastic prison and see what he looks like in hand. So here we have Ronin out of the packaging, and before we get into the figure, let's go over what's included like I do in all my other videos. You do get the obligatory operation manual here. Hooray for that. It just tells you how to do stuff and things. You also get an optional head here with his eyes looking left, which is the same mold as the one that's on there, but just the eyes are just painted to look in the other direction, which is pretty nice. You also get optional hands here, which I have in my hand, but you do get Ronin down. Let's get him back up. There we go. You do get some relaxed hands here. For these tiny things, man, there's a lot of molded detail in there. It makes it look really good. Really do enjoy that. Give it the inside especially, it kind of gives it a leathery look, the molded detail, and especially with that tannish paint on the inside of the palms there. Looks very good. Although I don't remember in the movie if they were that. I think it was just one solid color. I think it was all black. I only saw the movie like 8 times in the theaters. There you have those open hands. And he also gets a set of gripping hands so he can hold his sword or sheath or something like that, but I'll go over this when I swap out and I'll show you posing and everything like that. So there you have that. And you get a few accessories with him. You get a sword in a sheath here. Very thin plastic. Be very careful of this. Like, this thing is like paper thin. Be careful bending it. Don't snap it. Got a little bit of molded detail on the inside there. Some silver paint for some, looks like studs right here. Oop, dropping it. Down here. Some silver paint in the hilt and the handle right there. More throughout here. And there is storage on the figures. You can see there's a tab on that. He's got a whole slot right there, and that just tabs in pretty securely in the back there. So if you want, you can have him just standing there where you can clearly see the sword poking out the back there. Also included, you do get just the sheath itself here with the same tab right there. And it's the same exact mold, just without the blades, like they shaved it off. So there you have that. And again, tab, slot. This one kind of doesn't stay in as much as the sword and sheath. It's there if you want it. You can't really see it if you're looking at him head on. You can kind of see the bottom of the sheath right here, but you can't see anything up there. And you also get the sword here out of the sheath. Very nice shiny silver paint for the blade there. Same molded detail as previous. You get those silver dots in there in the hilt and the handle. Looks very good. And I'll show you what he looks like holding it later on when I swap out the hands, but there you have that. And you also get, just around this, you also get a sheath without a tab, so he can hold this in his hand too. But yeah, same detail, nothing different. They just shaved off the tab. So initially, when you get him in package, he comes with the hood, as you can see here, already attached. But the hood is removable, which is good, because his hood kind of, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of the hood. I mean, I like the look of it. I like the gold paint. It's just seems too big. It just seems too big for the figure. You know what it reminds me of? WWE Elite Series AJ Styles. That hood on that figure. It just seems too big and awkward and weird. But like I said, it is removable. Just you kind of just a few tabs on here. There's a couple holes throughout there. So there you have that. And there he is without the hood. So let's get him in a stance here. There we go. And let's go over the look of the figure. So the look of the figure is good. I like the look of him. I like the paint scheme. I like the molded detail. We'll get into more of that when we get into final thoughts. But let's take a quick look at that noggin there. And it's a very smooth head sculpt here. Not a lot of detail there. You can clearly see the eyes though. The eyes are picked out very well. I like this gold line work here in the chin and jaw going all the way around the head. Very consistent, very nice. Not really noticing any paint splotches, which is a good thing because that's a very thin line there. And if you can see it, I don't know how well the camera's picking it out. You can see in the mouth area that there's some little indentations to kind of give it a look that he's got some way to breathe through the mask. You know, like as if there's holes in there so he can breathe and talk and you can hear him coherently. Overall, very nicely done. The front of him looks very good. The back, kind of plain and boring. This gold paint that it's kind of a theme here, if you could tell. Looks very good. Kind of like a nice mix between the movie and the comic. Looks very good. And I love the fact that the zipper here it's painted gold, but it's a kind of a different shade of gold. This is kind of more of a brighter gold than this. And the molding detail on that zipper is outstandingly done for such a small piece. Belt buckle is very nicely done too. He's got these little things on his belt here. I think they probably could have used a little bit of paint. It is what it is. And the really cool thing about the figure, one of the nice touches I like about him is that, I don't know how well you can see how the camera's picking up, but right here in the bicep area, this is more of a flat, you can actually see it in the bicep, in the shoulder, front part of the shoulder right here, as well as the inner thigh. It's a flat black, whereas on the outside, on this part back here, or the outer thigh, it's kind of it's got a gloss to it. It is black, but it's two different kinds of black. You got the flat and the gloss, and it looks very good together. And there's like subtle pieces of silver in there for the buckles on the shoulder, or I should say the bicep here and the thigh. Let's do it on this side. On the rib section here, you got some nice gold paint here, and some molded detail on this part right here of the garment he's wearing. I'm not sure what you would call this. If you know, leave me a comment in the comment section down below of what the name of this outfit is, and don't just say ninja. A little bit of separate molded detail, just kind of break it up a little bit. Knee pads are done very well. Different molded detail than this area here, different texture. Not really noticing a lot of paint splotches on there. It looks really good. On the back of this leg here, on his right leg, he's got a little bit of a hilt here, or a sheath with what looks like a dagger. But you could probably remove it if you want. It's pretty well glued in there, and you can't remove the dagger, which is kind of a bummer. There you have that. Articulation-wise, it's your basic S.H.Figuarts articulation. Ball joint there. Can look down really far. Can't look up that far just because of the way the collar is here. And it can do a full 360 if you wish. Shoulders here can go out that far, can do a full 360 if you want that too. There is a rotation at the elbow here, and for some reason the left elbow on mine, the peg likes to come out if I kind of straighten it too much. It is what it is. But you can kind of get almost a little over 90-degree bend at the elbow there, and there is a rotation at the wrist, and as well as a ball socket, and wiggly waggly and all that stuff. Ball joint at this part right here, wiggly waggly, can turn a little bit. Ball joint at the waist too. Not a lot of rotation there, not a lot of back and forth either. Thighs can only go out that far, can only go forward that far, can only go back that far, which is kind of a bummer. A little bit of a rotation at the hip there. Knees, you get a little over 90 there. Kind of want to say that there's a little bit of a give. There is in this, on mine, on the right leg here, there is a little bit of a give to give a little bit of rotation. I don't know if that's on purpose or that's a happy accident, but it's not on the left leg, it's only on the right leg. Ankle articulation, forward, back, wiggly waggly, ankle breakage, rocker, la la la. Toes can bend. Oh, I forgot to show this off too. He's got treads on the bottom of his shoes. I love that. Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, there you have that for articulation. So let's just swap out some parts here. So if you want to swap out the head, easy, breezy, pop it off, decapitate him, ball socket. Ugh. There we go. There's that thwip. But yeah, there's swapping out the head. And I don't understand why you only get one head with him. One alternate head, I should say. To swap out the hands. Pretty easy. If you have S.H.Figuarts, you know how this goes. Come on, work with me. Man, these things are so tiny. There we go. So there he is with the relax hand, like he's gonna slap a bitch. Don't ask me why I did that. I've been up since 5:30. And let's give him one of the grabby hands so we can show you what it looks like to hold his sword. Bam, like that. I don't like this head. Let's take this head off. Ugh. Let's position that better. There we go. How do you like this? This is making for good quality entertainment right here. So there we get that. And then you just take his sword. Slide it in. It's very tight fit. Be very careful. Well, there's really not a lot of wiggle room. Be right back because I'm going to try this off camera because I really don't want to. This is a very thin piece of plastic right here on the hilt. And I don't want to snap that off, so I'll be right back. Alrighty, so here he is holding his sword there, and I swapped out the other hand, the relaxed hand for the other grabby hand, just to show you what it looks like, dual wielding and everything like that. And like I said, very tight fit, not a lot of wiggle room, and not going nowhere. He's holding on to those things really tight, so let's just slide that out. Let's put this on, shall we? And I like the sword, so he's going to hold his sword. And there's a little bit of wiggle room to give him that kind of pointing forward pose with the blade. That if you want, or hold it straight up like that. So yeah, that's not going to stay on. Just move that off to the side. So there you have that. Let's get him ready for some comparison, shall we? Oh boy. Let's get into some comparisons, shall we? Speaking of WWE Elite Series, here he is next to WWE Elite Series AJ Styles. Here he is next to S.H.Figuarts WWE Series Stone Cold Steve Austin. Here he is next to a Marvel Universe 3 3/4 inch scale figure. Here he is next to Captain America. And here he is next to assortment of other S.H.Figuarts Marvel figures that I have. Here he is next to the Mark 7 armor, Infinity War Captain America, Ant-Man, Infinity War Falcon, Infinity War Hulk, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. So that's it for comparisons. Let's get into a final pose and get to some final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Ronin, he's a bit underwhelming. For a costume that we saw for maybe 5 minutes in the movie, I don't feel it's necessary to have a separate figure just for that specific purpose. If maybe he was shown throughout the movie a little bit longer in this style, it would have been better. But he was in Tokyo or China, or this was the only time you saw him looking like this. That aside, the look of this figure is great. I love the paint scheme, very reminiscent of the comic book. The one slight difference from the comic book to this is his face is completely covered in the comic. You can't even see his face. In this, you can make out the eyes. The sword, the detail on the sword is great. I love it. It would have been nice though if we had the ability to have a sheath. If this was let me grab it here for a second. If this was thicker instead of this paper thin plastic here, it would have been nice to be able to pull this out of the sheath, like have it two separate pieces in and out like that. This is nice. I like this. I would have liked it if you can be able to put the sword in the sheath and pull it out. But that's just my opinion. The hood, like I said earlier, it's a little awkward. It's a little weird. It's nice that we have it. I like the fact that it's removable, which I like. You know what would have been really cool too? Let's look at AJ Styles here for a second. See how that's folded up? The hood's folded up like that. Could we have gotten that accessory too? Because there was at one point in the movie where he takes his hood off. He just kind of folds it down on his shoulders, takes the mask off and all that stuff. Where was that additional piece? Another big complaint I have is, let's grab Mr. Screwdriver here, is this skirt really hinders the articulation. I mean, he's supposed to be Clint Barton ninja, and you can barely move those legs, barely get him in some decent, karate poses. The arms, there's a wide range in the arms for the articulation, but this skirt really hinders the mobility from the hips there. If maybe it was a softer plastic, it would have been fine. Or if they would have just kind of given us a slit right here so we can kind of, you know, manipulate this a little bit to get some more poses out of there. But yeah, like I said, this guy's kind of underwhelming. It's cool to have. I like the fact that he's in my collection. It's just, there's just not a lot going on with him. Minimal accessories. The alternate hands are nice. I mean, the fact that we only got one alternate head, and it's this head right here with his eyes looking to the left. I understand why they do this, but can we have gotten a Clint Barton head with the faux hawk or the mohawk? And I know there's going to be an exclusive Endgame Hawkeye coming out soon. Yes, I have that on pre-order, and maybe I'll be able to swap that out with this. Who knows? We'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But for this figure in itself, it would have been nice to have that additional head, because there's some people that might not get that Hawkeye or don't have another S.H.Figuarts Hawkeye and only want this one. He does look good with the rest of the Avengers that I have, but if you're not familiar with the comic and only familiar with the movie, he's gonna look a little weird with them all together, because again, it was only in the movie for 5 minutes. Other than that, that's been my review of S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Ronin. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Hit me up on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. All the links for everything will be in the description down below there. Down there. Down there. This is S.L.B, and like I said, this has been my review of S.H.Figuarts Avengers Endgame Ronin. And this is S.L.B saying, man, I hope the Disney Plus Hawkeye series is going to be good.